I'm always telling you to look at your stats, so I'm going to share something interesting with you about, my stats here. Since I added my face to the title card, our viewership has gone down. It's sad but true. So this is the last one with my mug on it for a while. But as promised in the last video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about launching a podcast.
No, this is your video. This is your face.
Hey everybody, I'm Saul Colt, the host of the Licensed to Print Money Show, powered by Spreadshop. The goal of the show, for as long as they let me do it, is to show creative people how to make money from their creative life. So, I'm begging you, I've taken a hit to my ego that the viewership has gone down. So smash that bell, subscribe, because every Tuesday and Friday, I'm going to come directly to you, basically sharing everything I know about ways to generate income from your creative life. We're going to talk growing audiences. We're going to talk the nuances of each platform. We've started going deep into podcasting. And most importantly, we love talking about selling merch. Speaking of merch, the show is sponsored by Spreadshop. I've had a Spreadshop for over a decade, and in my opinion, they're the very best online solution for selling all kinds of merch like clothing, bags, all sorts of things. That's my personal testimonial. I'm wearing a Spreadshop shirt right now. Stick around to the end of the video and I will tell you more about them. So, we got into this a little bit last week, but let's go deeper. Starting a podcast is an exciting venture. And with your background, in creativity and everything, it's bound to be a unique and engaging one. So, here are a bunch of steps to really get you started. And this is for people who are literally starting from day one.
Okay. Day one. Wow.
So like I said in the last video, we talked about having a clear podcast concept and how important that is. Podcasting is all about connecting with your audience. So it is crucial. Define your goals. Define your target audience. Why are you doing this at all? Is it to generate leads for your business? Do you want to be recognized as a thought leader? Maybe you just want a soapbox to unload, whatever's bothering you, what's on your chest. There isn't a right or wrong answer, but the more niche you get, the easier it'll be to find an audience quickly. And when I say niche, I mean go one level down from what you may think is actually niche. So, instead of making a show about baseball, make it about a specific team, or make it just about knuckleball pitchers. Instead of making a show about business, make it a show about business for new immigrants, nonprofits maybe. It is also at this stage where you want to name your show. This is part of your planning. A good way to know if you have a good concept, or a good name or anything, is to put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, whatever, and come up with 10 to 12 episode ideas. These should come super easy, and if they don't, you might want to find a new concept, because if those episode ideas don't come quick, it's going to be really hard. And don't start making your podcast artwork just yet, because at this stage, things are going to change a few times. So, we've talked about concept. Let's talk about format. Your podcast format should resonate with your content and your style. Figure out what's going to make you happy and stick with it. Should you have a co-host? Are you going to do interviews? Are you just going to talk? Are you going to be about news? Or do you want to just talk about reality TV? When you're deciding your format, this also includes length and frequency of your show.
How long is it going to be?
Data shows the most popular shows are between 20 and 40 minutes, one episode a week. But shorter or longer or more frequent is fine as long as you're interested, your content is interesting, and people are telling you this is what they want. So, you have to start with great recording equipment. Where do you start? The equipment you choose is pretty important, But podcasting doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to break the bank, as the kids would say. If you're doing a one-person show, all you really need is a great microphone and some software. I personally use an Audio-Technica microphone, but there are really good microphones under $100 and amazing ones like Shure for way more than $100. But any good professional mic will give you great sound. If you want to spend more on accessories like boom stands and things like that, you can, but that's all up to you. Once you've got, your equipment, you've got to be thinking about podcast software.
So then you must physically bring them to the software people.
What software to use is kind of important. Your choice can significantly impact your workflow. I've already told you it takes a long time to do a podcast. My setup may not be the most efficient, but I do my interviews in Streamyard. There are a few other platforms, but I like Streamyard because I can stream my show in real time to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. They offer local recording, so I get a crisp, clean sound, even if the person on the other side doesn't have a fast connection. And you can download a video or audio vision of your recording as soon as you're finished. I like to stream my show and then put it through my podcast feed. I have way more people that listen to my podcast than see the streams, so I don't worry about any crossover. Once I've downloaded the video, I make clips for promotion and I drop the audio into GarageBand. GarageBand comes with a Mac computer. There you can add music, you can add flourishes. I add my intro, my outro, any final touches, and then I drop it into my feed. I didn't talk about microphone etiquette. I'm not going to talk about, all those things. I figure, if you want any of that stuff, drop in the comments and I'll talk about it. Same with editing your podcast. If you need, if you need help editing, drop in the podcast. I'll go over it. And if you need, people with beautiful voices to record an intro and outro, go to audiojungle.com or Fiverr. So way early in this, I said, this isn't the time to make your podcast art. Well, now is the actual time. There are a couple of things you need to think about when creating your podcast art. It should be visual, should be high color, it should stand out. I like to look at other shows similar to what you're doing and do the opposite, but that's just me. But, you could use a photo of yourself if that's your thing. But remember, there is not a lot of real estate to add, in this thing, and you want to have your show name and any other information. And you also need to consider the size, as Apple has very specific guidelines on podcast art. The image needs to be square image, 3000 by 3000 pixels, a resolution of 72 dpi, needs to be a PNG or a JPEG file, and needs to be RGB. My super quick guide on how to create great podcast art is this. Visually communicate the subject of the podcast. Design something that works for a slew of different sizes and platforms, because you're going to want to make t-shirts and things like that. Don't just do too many words or multiple fonts. It'll get confusing and lost and just look messy. I always tell people, don't use a microphone or an iPod in your art. You don't need to remind people you're a podcast. They know that. And finally, stay consistency. Your branding, your colors. This is everything. You want people to look at it and know who you are, what the show is right away, and not forget.
This is your brand image, Mr. Leach.
So, once you got all this, you have to set up podcast hosting. There's a slew of podcast hosting sites out there. Basically, this is where you upload your shows so others can download them or stream them. Apple or Spotify or whoever don't actually take possession of your files. They're just showing people where your show actually lives and letting them, hear it through their platforms. The hosting site I use is Libsyn, and I like them very much, but they're all kind of the same, so find one that you dig and go deep with them. Once you have found a hosting site, this is where you're going to put all the information that really shows up on people's phones and car infotainment centers. You're going to upload your artwork, your actual episode files, your show notes, any links to homepages, as well as contact information and things like that if you want to make that public. The last step to getting your show, is getting your show listed on all the podcast directories. Like Apple, Google Play, Spotify. But you may not know that there are many others. There's probably 15 or 20, maybe even 50 others you can register for. And you want to be everywhere so your episode goes wherever people choose to listen to their shows. Every hosting site has a slightly different way to get on all the different platforms, but they're all pretty much the same. You register, you go on your hosting site, you get an RSS feed for your episode. Then you share your RSS feed with each directory. It's all done inside the hosting platform. It takes no time at all. Some of them even have a one-button push to just spread them to all. And in the early days of podcasting, I think Apple actually checked to see the quality of your show, and they decided whether to approve it or not. Now my understanding is, I might be wrong, all they do is check to make sure the RSS feed is active and good, and then your show gets approved. And that could take like a week or so. Now you need to promote.
Oh, did they hit anybody's Instagram, Facebook, Hopscotch, Reddit, anything?
Lean on your friends and family. Share on your social media sites. Go into groups like Reddit or Facebook groups on the subject of your show. Let people know they're there. And don't forget to ask them to subscribe and review. It makes a huge difference. So in conclusion, launching a podcast is a creative marketing endeavor, and every step reflects, your expertise and everything, but you need to keep your audience engaged, high quality content, and promote effectively. And don't forget, make some shirts with your podcast logo and sell them in your Spreadshop store. So what is Spreadshop? Well, by now I hope you know, but in case you don't, Spreadshop is the ultimate solution for creating and selling custom merchandise online. Spreadshop offers an extensive range of very high quality shirts, products, high quality products, including t-shirts, hoodies, hats, bags. They're all, and the platform is free. Simply upload your designs and Spreadshop takes care of all the heavy lifting. No need to worry about production, inventory, or fulfillment. Visit www.spreadshop.com today and tell them Saul sent you. I'm Saul, if you haven't figured that out yet. If you found this video helpful, just like I said, to do with your podcast, please subscribe, give us a review, drop some comments. We're here every Tuesday and Friday to help you and try to make a little money in this weird time, and hopefully we're doing right by you. So have a great day, and hope to hear your podcast.